Well, hello, welcome. I'm Sue Blythe with the Climate Collaboratory, and I'm here today with Mallory O'Connor, who is just bringing one of our many seed ideas in the gardens of global unity where all things are possible. And Mallory, tell us a little about who you are and what you're doing in the world.
Okay, well, I'm Mallory O'Connor. I'm Professor Emerita of Art History at Santa Fe College. And I also served for 10 years as director of the Thomas Centered Gallery, at which time I curated a number of exhibitions that had to do with environmental issues and with social justice issues. I also am the author of uh, two books of Native American art and history, Lost Cities of the Ancient Southeast, and then more recently a book about the St. Johns River called Florida's American Heritage River. And I've also worked with the Institute for Learning and Retirement for a number of years since I retired from my position at Santa Fe College, and have really enjoyed doing classes for them. And this is another opportunity for me to work with them in an area that I feel very strongly about, and that is trying to raise awareness about issues surrounding climate change.
Beautiful. Well, we are working in the Garden of Environment today to talk about climate change. So we are in the Day of Environment in 11 days of global unity with We the World. And since about 2018, I've been growing a seed idea myself in the Gardens of Global Unity. And that is a place where we can create and develop projects and get all ages involved in helping to create a sustainable, just, and peaceful future. And so here we are in the Gardens of Global Unity where all things are possible. Our seed ideas grow in different stages, and some have been growing since 2018 and others are just getting planted now. But the idea is a seed is just an idea. It may be just something that came to you. It may be something that you are working on with some friends. A seedling is where it's getting ready to show to a few people. And a sapling is where it's taking shape. And so we're bringing you a sapling today. The flowering tree is when it's ready to show off to the public. And I guess we are showing it. So we must be in the flowering tree stage. And the fruiting tree is where it's really making a difference in the world. This is the way I see seed ideas in the Gardens of Global Unity.
I spent a long time running, I never knew then what I know now. That the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then, and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around.
Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds, nothing
It's like your whole life you've been training for this moment, and when the time comes you just disown it, meaning you just surrender, don't control it, not interested in the clay pots and mold it, or sitting next to the path trying to unfold it, or waiting for the fruits to fall down toward you. Let it go and now you're flowing, feeling quite gorgeous, so you take steps away instead of towards it. What a rush, feeling freedom with nothing to hold. We've been taught that what you touch will always turn to gold, and now we're learning when we let it go it overflows with no credit to take, cause no credit is home. A higher power working deeper where the seed seeds are sowed. And when the seeds are true, then they're seeds of gold. But the real gold is joy when life starts to flow. And when it does, you just smile, cause now you know.
I spent a long time running. I never knew then what I know now. Let the fruits, they always come in, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show in. We plant the seeds then and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around. Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow.
When it grows, it grows.
Whatever dies will die.
And when it dies, it dies. Come on.
Works will
If it works, it works.
whatever flies will
Let it fly, let it
whatever
fly.
fails will fail.
When it fails, it
What's meant
fails.
to soar will soar.
When it soars, it soars.
I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will
Let it grow, let it
whatever
grow.
dies will
If it dies, it dies.
whatever works will
When it works, it works.
whatever flies
Yeah.
will
Let it fly, let it
whatever
fly.
fails will fail.
Fails, it
What's meant
fails.
to soar will soar.
Let it
I am
soar.
planting seeds
And nothing more.
Here in the Garden of Environment, we have quite a few seed ideas growing, and these are just four. The first one is a collaborative storytelling adventure I call On the Road to 2030, 2050, and Beyond. We're telling a really wonderful story of Alachua County's bicentennial climate story, looking at 200 years of history right here in Alachua County, Florida. And we have a project that is called the Bicentennial Postcards, which is helping to illuminate the bicentennial climate story. And then we are going to see Mallory's presentation of using art to explore climate change. Hello, it's me, the sage and Grandma Sue Blythe, and I have a story that I want to tell my grandchildren and all grandchildren. On the Road to 2030, 2050, and Beyond is a collaborative storytelling adventure for the human family. We are one human family and one Earth community with a common destiny. And we use the words of the Earth Charter to help us explore that. In our story, the Sages of the Ages, played by both fictional and real-life elders, help the children understand this critical moment in Earth's history.
Throughout human history, people have told stories about how the universe was created and how life began, and how the human family came to populate the whole earth. And in each part of the world, people tell stories about past generations and their own local history.
And every one of us has our own story to tell about this critical moment in Earth's history.
So the elders help people of all ages plant their own seed ideas. One that's growing really well in Alachua County right now is the Matheson History Museum's online exhibit that will be launched in December, telling Alachua County's bicentennial climate story. So we are looking at the history of Alachua County and telling little bits of stories about what it was like in 1824 when the county was first founded, in 1924 when all these different cities had been established. And in 2024, when we are learning to live in harmony with nature and helping to create that sustainable, just, and peaceful future one for our children and grandchildren. A seed idea that blossomed recently was a postcard project. And several of us from the Writers Alliance of Gainesville went down to the Matheson History Museum and went through their archives where they have books and books of postcards from Alachua County history. And we chose about 70 of them, put them out to all 200 members of the Writers Alliance, and received a wonderful sampling of stories that were written in all different styles about different parts of our history. And it's a great example of how to bring moments to life. We're also collecting stories of real people who are doing things right now today that are helping to make a world that works for all. And we invite lots of people to help fill that story out. One of our dear friends, is Mallory O'Connor, who is using art to explore climate change. And Mallory, why don't you take it over and explain what that means?
Well, I was asked to put together a class for the Institute for Learning in Retirement, which is a wonderful component of the OCAMIC faculty, University of Florida Faculty Retirement Center. And they offer a number of wonderful classes on a variety of topics. And one that I suggested that I thought would be very important is something called Using Art to Explore Climate Change. And this class promotes climate literacy across disciplines by looking at and documenting the ways in which climate has impacted and continues to influence life on Earth. And to do this, the class is going to focus on how works of art, including literature and the performing arts, can explore and address climate change and the impacts on our world in order to raise awareness of the current crisis and offer some possible interventions. Now, one of my background is particularly in fine art. I was I am professor emerita of art history, Santa Fe College, and served as director of the Thomas Center Gallery for 10 years, where I curated a number of exhibitions that focused on environmental issues. Exhibitions like Liquid Muse, which looked at how water had inspired artists, and The Quest for the Fountain of Youth, which is a very popular Florida story. And so I continued this kind of approach. I've written several books, including Lost Cities of the Ancient Southeast, about the Southeastern indigenous population, and also Florida's American Heritage River, which looks at a history of the St. John's. And I've written several novels that are about environmental issues in Florida. I'll get back to that in a minute. But one of the artists that we're going to be looking at in our class at OCAMIC is a man named Xavier Cortada. He is Miami's pioneer eco-artist, using art to work across disciplines and engage the community in problem solving through environmentally focused art. And he's beginning to get international visibility for his art. This is one of his paintings, but he's better known for his performances and his installations, which are really remarkable in terms of being out in the public and drawing attention to climate issues. Using art to raise awareness is nothing new. And we find something here, a fairly recent, in fact, example in Pablo Picasso's famous Guernica, done in 1937, which was a painting in which Picasso wanted to take issue with the fascist attacks on the Spanish towns like Guernica and in the lead up to World War II. So artists have long found that using art can be a very powerful tool in raising awareness and getting out a message. Here's another example from 1935, Brenada Bryson's Dust, a lithograph in which she shows a young boy who is a victim of the terrible agricultural practices in the Midwest that led to the Dust Bowl. Between drought and bad agricultural processes and a lack of water, farmers had to leave their land. They lost their homes, they lost their livelihood. They moved out of the area. So the Dust Bowl days are certainly something that we needed to discuss. And artists like Brenda Bryson and Dorothea Lange, who's certainly better known, brought attention to these issues. And more recently, here's Richard Misrach and his photographs. He did a number of photographs in New Orleans right after Hurricane Katrina. So here in 2005 is one of the images of somebody who has left this really terribly sad message on their home: destroy this memory. And he found messages written all over the place in New Orleans post-Katrina of people who had had their homes or businesses destroyed and left something to say that their kind of call to please help, please do something about this. So Richard Misrach and a number of other artists, in this case photographers, have worked to raise awareness in this way. In music, we find artists like Susie Ibarra, who worked with a sound engineer to record the actual melting of glaciers around the world and the actual distraught cries of animals who were losing their home or whose habitat had been disrupted. And the images of and sounds really of floods and other things that have happened with water. So her water rhythms, her water music, you might say, is a way of using sound, including music, a variety of types of music, to again raise awareness and make people more aware of the issues. Locally here in Gainesville, we have musician Kathy DeWitt, who is a wonderful folk musician and a distinguished performer. She's a published writer, producer, award-winning songwriter, and the band leader of a jazz quartet, Moon Dancer, and the folk bluegrass band Patchwork. And she's been working with the Florida Defenders of the Environment on a project called Natural Florida, traveling around the state with a group of musicians, artists, and poets, sharing their art about Florida's environmental issues. And in the area of literature, we find novelists and other writers, journalists, who are addressing issues that have to do with climate change. One of the earliest was Amitav Ghosh, an Indian writer, who wrote this book called The Great Derangement, Climate Change and the Unthinkable, writing from his knowledge of what was going on in India and what was going to be going on in the rest of the world. There was also a journalist at the time who was trying to bring awareness to climate issues, Dan Bloom. He's now based in Taiwan, and he actually coined the phrase cli-fi, or climate fiction, and really set off a whole new genre of literature dedicated to raising awareness about climate and environmental issues. And my own novels that I've been writing, a series of novels that have to do with climate issues, including Epiphany's Gift and Xanadu's Cavern, that talk about problems like the damage that fracking does and the danger to Florida's water resources. other novelists who've been working with similar topics. Richard Powers, his Pulitzer Prize winning The Overstory, which talks about the significance of trees and what their tree culture can teach us about the natural environment. Films also, we have a number of films that have made their appearance on the scene, and probably one of the best known is this 2004 movie, The Day After Tomorrow, which talks about what would happen if the Atlantic Gulf stream shut down. This is a circulation of warm water from the tropics that loops up into the North Atlantic and is fed by actually from melt from Greenland and from other Arctic sources that keeps it moving in a circle. And it's one of the reasons that Northern Europe is habitable and not under ice. And so in The Day After Tomorrow, and one of the things that's been noticed by scientists that's very worrying is that as our climate is changing, this very significant ocean current is beginning to dissipate. And if it does, there's going to be very extremely dire consequences. We might see Northern Europe sometime under an ice sheet. I know that sounds odd if you're talking about global warming, but it just tells us that the climate will become extremely unpredictable. It's not just warming, it's the unpredictability of what will happen and some of the tipping points that might be passed. Eco Arts in Action, another group of artists who are calling attention to ecological problems in their performances and in their installations. And this is taking place in a number of different places around the world where this group has wanted to call attention to a particular environmental issue.
So Mallory, you are helping us to explore the possibilities for the future through the arts. And it's a wonderful gift that you bring to our community. And it helps us to remember that we are one human family and one earth community with a common destiny. Whether we have some of the very dire futures that you've described, or if we're going to have that sustainable, just and peaceful future that we dream of, and really has been promised in many of the world's religions, that we want to inspire people, especially young people, to understand that we can make a difference. We have a window of opportunity right here and now. And so we are helping to plant those seed ideas and see if we can't grow them in our gardens of global unity. It's going to take a little bit of special magic to help this happen. So we're going to call on all the resources that we have available.
Salagadoola, menchikaboola, bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. Put them together and what have you got? Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. Salagadoola, menchikaboola, bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. It'll do magic, believe it or not. Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. Now salagadoola means a menchikaboola-roo. But the thingamabob that does the job is bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. Oh, salagadoola, menchikaboola, bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. Put them together and what have you got?
In the gardens of global unity. And we are helping to create that world that works for all. We, the World, has been working on this for 20 years and more. And we are grateful to be part of this 20th anniversary celebration of the 11 Days of Global Unity. And the Climate Collaboratory is a project of We, the World. And I want to thank you, Mallory, for helping us to show what's happening right here in Alachua County. And maybe you have some closing thoughts for us.
Well, I think that a lot of people don't know what to do. They know there's a problem, they are aware of it, but they feel totally overwhelmed. And they don't realize that there are steps they can take, and everybody needs to, kind of hold hands and step forward and try to find out what they can do to make a difference. And one of the things I want to do with this class that I'm teaching is to give people some information about even baby steps that they can take that will help and that might lead to bigger steps later on. And with all of us, if we'd all try, if we'd all come together and give it our best shot, I think that we can really begin to make some substantive difference.
Beautiful. And my hope is that we can really give children and youth a sense of hope and possibility, and that they are a large part of what's happening, that we're trying to get an intergenerational climate conversation going so that those of us who have been working on these issues for half a century, some of us, and we can share what we've learned and help them to, take what will be helpful to them. They've got so many new tools and understandings to add to our understanding. So it's a wonderful collaborative storytelling adventure.
And they can take it to the next level.
Absolutely. And that's where that magic comes in. That this, I think we are at a time of transformation, and to just be joyful in it. The Earth Charter closes with these words: let ours be a time remembered for the awakening of a new reverence for life, the firm resolve to achieve sustainability, the quickening of the struggle for justice and peace, and the joyful celebration of life. That's what we're looking for right here in Blythe County. So everybody in their own part of the world can be part of this story, and we look forward to sharing that together.